officers were mounted.
Oh, yeah, with the horses.
Yeah. That's that guy in the middle. In 1916, there was a Mexican bandit by the name of Pancho Villa who was raiding Texas towns. Okay?
Oh.
And they called up the second Maine. First of all, President Wilson sends Black Jack Pershing down there to catch Pancho Villa. The regular army goes into Mexico proper, violation of international law, right off the bat. And then he calls back out to the president, I don't have enough people, so they call out the guard. This is the 2nd Maine Infantry from Maine. Here they are at Laredo, Texas in 1916. They go there for 3 months. They never do catch Pancho Villa, but they learn how to load their stuff, how to mobilize, how to work with units laterally and vertically, up and down. So a year later, what happens? 1917, what happens?
Yeah.
For us, World War I. So the units call up again. This guy here goes to France, performs bravely, gets the Bronze Star. He's wounded, he gets the Purple Heart.
Well,
Purple
heart, yeah.
Purple Heart, and then he gets the French
Look at
Flag
all of
here.
these.
He died a young
Maine
man,
sons and daughters.
not from wounds he'd received, but from a congenital heart condition that he'd had.
Look at all of this,
This
Chief.
guy's daughter is now a clergy, she's a minister in Caribou, Maine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that guy's daughter. She came down with it with her mom, and I showed them the exhibit, what I'd done with their dad's stuff, her husband's stuff. Now I was telling you, your son, about V-mail. If you can imagine, if let's say you have 10 million soldiers in Europe during World War II, each one of them sends a letter home. That's a lot of trucks.
That's a
to carry
lot,
the mail.
yeah.
So they would go to a USO club or a mail center or what have you. You'd write on a sheet who it's going to, Mr. John Smith, 15 Jefferson Street, Augusta, Maine, da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And you'd write your little note. Dear Rick, how's it going? Like my cousin said, how's that new baby? Moi.
Yeah. Why is it?
Moi.
Look at that. There's all kinds of little numbers on this.
Yes, the sites are graduated. That's what we call graduated. It's a system where you can set your sights for the range where your target is.
Yeah.
How about that? And that's a typical mess cup, your mess kit right there, what you eat with. Eating.
Utensils, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't have too much to
your
use.
Meat and potatoes and gravy in a big part. You have your peaches in another part and your string beans. And if it rains, the whole thing gets wet, and it's like eating soup, you know.
Yeah.
But it's still food. So this guy here.
Ooh. Oh my God.
So it spins.
The explosive part is right here. This is the propellant part. That's the explosive part. What it does, it actually melts a hole through the tank, okay? Melts a hole through it, and then the explosive, the charge, goes inside and flies around and blows everything up. That's how it
Oh
works.
my God. Well, they don't play around, do they?
They gotta fix that now. A friend of mine who did this case is a Vietnam veteran, Bill Logan. Bill is a
Logan.
special forces guy, and that's why you have a lot of the.
Jeez, don't hurt yourself trying to put that back together.
Well, I've done it before, yeah, because you could help me. I had some hand surgery that didn't.
That's been welded.
Huh?
There, it's been welded right there.
Yeah, that's where this thing was sitting. Okay, well.
Wow.
Get it.
All right.
You push that one in?
Company B.
There,
This is some of the uniforms.
These two aren't right.
Phones.
Yeah, I think the thing about it is
Look at that.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's leave it like that. We'll have somebody else do it. We'll show them. I'll give them something to do.
Some more uniform. This is
Yeah.
U.S. World War II artifacts. Wow.
Sea rations.
Yep.
That's what we used to eat. That was better than the we have today.
Yeah.
So you have a relative?
Yeah, it was really good because when I was married, we had some that we brought home, and actually it was pretty good. All right, this belongs to World War One. That got left over used in World War II. Japanese area.
Yeah. So it was the Vietnam one, which was a terrific tour. 3 days of solid history. I brought my son, my two grandsons. Went down last night to Westbrook, where they had the honors band program. He's a percussionist. Sam he's in
How
8th
old
grade.
that one
He
is?
goes to high school to do college calculus and algebra. He's in an advanced student program that they have down
Wow.
there. That's why they live down there, is because of the educational system.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's participated in the Geography B, and he's going for the whole state of Maine next week sometime. Every spare minute he's reading stuff about geography, peninsulas, continents, capitals of states. That don't even count for him, he knows.
Easy
This
stuff,
is
right?
one of 2 medals of honor that we have in the museum. This one was awarded to Brevet Brigadier General Andrew Sperling. Some books list him as Spaulding, but his name is Sperling. He captured a trainload of Confederates at a place called Evergreen in Alabama. Now the citation omits one little detail. Confederates were asleep at the time. But that's okay.
Ah.
Now the entire 27th Maine was promised by President Lincoln, if they stayed on guard duty beyond their enlistment to guard Washington, D.C., they'd each receive the Medal of Honor, which later on in 1916, there's a board of inquiry that was appointed and said that that wasn't a valid use of. My grandson,
Spanish
who's now a
American War.
freshman at Orono, when he came in here, he was 6 years old. I asked him, I said, Mike, do you know what this is? He says, gee, Pepe, I don't know what it's called, but it's one of them did things.
Yeah.
I said, "What?"
Did I?
Yeah, did I? That's
Yeah.
right. So he knew it was a telegraph key, just know to call it. I says, well, since you're 6 years old, I'll give you 100 for that one.
Oh yeah, at 6 years old. Come on, give him a break.
This is the 30-40 Krag
1984.
George Jorgensen carbine. The rifle is what they had the most of, which was a little bit bigger than that, but it's the prototype to the 03 that has it was single shot, but you'd load a magazine inside there. It was like clip loaded. It's not a true magazine, it was a prototype for that. When the Guard was called up for that unit, they had the trapdoor Springfield, which still fired the old black gunpowder. The old black gunpowder would leave a huge smoke signature. That's what
Oh
it is.
yeah,
Let it
right.
come have it. These guys were from Maine, the guys in the black uniforms. Now, if you're from Maine in the wintertime, that's what happened. They had a magneto. You turn the handle,
Navy
the
survival.
magneto would generate enough electricity to transmit a low-frequency signal. It was a constant signal that went out to either the submarines or PBY aircraft overhead. That model airplane right there is the type of airplane that President George Herbert Walker Bush was shot down in World War II. This is the leather jacket of a PBY pilot, Commander Sullivan, right there in World War II. This is the history of protective headgear right here. This is World War I and World War II clear up to 1942. This is the steel pot, that's what I wore. Most of my career, at the end I did wear that. Okay, this is World War II, Korea and Vietnam, two-piece. The outer cell is steel, that's why they call it a steel pot, GI parlance. And inside is a homogeneous, made out of fiberglass stuff, it's a liner. You'd take the liner out, you'd have the steel shell, you could cook in it, wash in it.
That's what I thought. I knew there was something to
This
that.
one here you can't do that with, that's the
Kevlar.
Kevlar, that's right. And that particular camo design is Desert Shield, Desert Storm. The guy that wore this was a buddy of mine who passed away, and he's buried at Arlington National Cemetery. He was born in Germany in 1928.
Wow.
He belonged to a soccer team that was sponsored, unfortunately, by a Jewish synagogue. He was Lutheran, he was a Christian, he wasn't Jewish. But when the Gestapo comes to town in the 1930s, they see his name on that roster, they send his dad and his brother to Dachau, concentration camp where they killed. His mother was of the right Aryan lineage, blonde, blue-eyed, yada yada. So she stayed at home. They sent him because he played on the team to a concentration camp for young boys at Theresienstadt in Czechoslovakia. He was on a work detail, he was about your age, he was on a work detail, and a German lady walks by and throws him a piece of moldy brown bread, which he ate and survived to the next day, which was the Russian liberation. Now you can imagine that was no freaking picnic.
Right.
So, not this one here.
The one with that looks like all springs?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's actually metal flanges that take the heat away from the
Yeah.
barrel. That is a Colt Marlin style American machine gun, air-cooled. Now, it would vibrate so much that the center post would dig its way into the ground, and the GIs nicknamed that the potato digger because of that. That's German water-cooled, Japanese light Nambu, same thing as in the case. This
Yeah.
is Japanese
Yep,
heavy
that
Nambu.
Handle.
Heavy Nambu.
Yeah, I mean, this
This
it's
one
kind of
here
light.
doesn't have all the pieces, so be careful, don't
Oh,
jiggle
okay,
it too much.
yeah.
The inventor for that was from Maine. His name
Really?
Hiram Maxim.
It has
that's a maximum.
1918 written on it.
Yeah, he sold his patent in England and it was manufactured under the name Vickers machine gun.
Should have kept his pattern.
And in Germany too, he sold it to the Germans, so it was on both sides.
Oh, well, that's
That
not
big
right.
honker right there is called a Stali 20mm anti-tank gun. And it was used by the Finns in Finland in 1939 when the Russians were invading, not the Germans. This is before Hitler invaded Russia. So Hitler and Stalin were still buddies then. So Stalin asked Hitler if he could take over the territory they'd lost after World War I.
Looks like it's got skis on it.
It does, because Finland is where? Way up in the Arctic Circle, and
So
there's a
they
lot of
pull that.
snow. There were ski troops that used that.
Yeah?
There were, Finnish ski troops. They were very good, very, very
How much does a magazine hold?
I think it's like 5 or 10.
No, not that many. 20mm would
Oh,
be
that's
probably
huge.
8 or something like that.
Huh.
I'm not sure about that particular weapon. I'd have to. You can go online and look it up.
Yep.
It's a Stali 20mm. Now that exhibit is dedicated to a gentleman who was from Maryland, but some of his family settled in Maine. Togas. You'll notice the turret is exaggerated in the crow's nest. If you look in the case, this is a picture of the battleship Maine, and in its proper perspective, you'll notice how small the crow's nest is up there.
Yeah.
Okay? Now,
Compared to what they did.
I use that as an example to young students, like I had about 75 junior ROTC cadets from Nokomis High School this weekend. And of course, I teach them the military stuff, military history. And one of the things about that is the fact that when you're studying history, or anything for that matter, it's good that you get more than one person's viewpoint and then make up your own conclusion. That's really what advanced education is about. It's you learning, but learning how to figure it out.
Right.
Oh, look what they do. They used to hide in the
Well,
In the logs, right? Wow, that's skinny.
actually made out of fiberglass.
Oh.
Because in here, you don't want to have real wood because they bring in little teeny bugs, and we don't need bugs in here. Same thing with that. That's
Yeah.
fiberglass. We get that surplus from the Maine State Museum when they break down. All these cases at one time were at the Maine State Museum, and we picked them up, had them fixed up, put new glass in it. You know what that thing is right here?
Yep. Gatling gun.
That's right. That's the original version of the machine gun. Now, inside the nose of an A-10 Warthog today is one of those, the basic principle. And it fires like 5,000 rounds a minute. If you were shooting at that Jeep, it would literally disintegrate it into a pile of metal and smoke. So this was one boy power, the Armstrong method. Da, 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 like that
Yep.
fast. And it wasn't
Oh
that
my
fast.
God.
The ammunition would feed, be careful, these are heavy, they fall on your toes. The ammo would feed down here, and if I were to, it's not gonna fire, there's no ammo in it. But you can see the bursitis, I hate those. See?
Yeah, yeah.
Fire
Bum,
down
bum,
here.
bum, 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 bum.
Right, now, if you have one barrel, you put a water jacket around and keep it cool, or you can have multiple barrels,
So the
and
air
that's what
cool.
the A-10 has. Okay, this is another helmet from W1. And this was one of the Army's first aviation units, and they had like a mythological helmet worn by Atlas or whoever it was in mythology. I'm not into mythology myself.
So what's this?
That's a footlocker that belonged to a gentleman in the Civil War from the 18th Massachusetts. He retired here in Maine to a farm, and his family donated that.
That's all they had for a footlocker, huh?
Yeah, well, if you're an officer, if you're an enlisted man, you didn't have that much. You had to carry it with you. This is Desert Shield, Desert Storm back here.
All right, look at this big one. A nice tanker. Great big old cannon, military. Look at that. Holy smokes, look at the chains on that. You can see all the teeth. Wow. Look at that. Isn't that big? Look at that. Whew. Wow. Solid rubber. No air inside of that. Need it that way, I guess. Yeah, look at that. Treads on that, double. Okay, we got light. Here's the whole thing here. Wow. Main battle tank, an M480, M48A5. Combat weight 54 tons. Get a crew of 4 in this. It's actually a Chrysler Corporation, Ford Motor Company, General Motor Company, Elco product. Huh. All right. Air-cooled diesel. Production run 1951 to 59. Wow. Okay. Used by the U.S., Turkey, South Korea, Germany, Taiwan, Israel, Pakistan, Taiwan, Greece, and other nations. Conflict wars, Vietnam War, U.S. South Vietnam, Middle East War in 1973, Israel, Middle East War 1967, Israel, Iran and Iraq conflict 1982 to 87, Iran. All right. How do you like that? Look at all that. All right, there you go. Military tanker. There you go, United States Army. Nice helicopter. Look at that. That is like so cool. They got this on display at the base. This is in Augusta, Maine. I can get right underneath there. Look at this. Wow. That's really cool. This is on display for everyone to come and see. Just hanging right out there. Wow, look at the big wheels. Oops! Now you really shut the light off.
Come on now.
That's
Yeah.
what I wanted.
Japanese World War II.
Sometimes, that's a mountain howitzer. They used to disassemble that, put it on bamboo racks, carry it up the mountain, and fire it at an invading army and Marines coming in. Now that picture that you're seeing right there is not technically Japanese prisoners surrendering. What it is Chinese men who were forced into the Japanese army in the 1930s.
Wow, look at that, it's all
and they
metal.
kept them there. But these guys religiously did not believe in the Bushido code of Harikari, the Shinto religion. So since they didn't believe in that,
That's why they gave up.
that's why they gave up instead of blowing themselves up or killing themselves.
Right.
The Japanese thought that was shame.
You shamed your family by
That's
doing
right. That's
This
right.
must have been awful heavy to,
Yes, it
look at that.
was.
It goes where
is
you
a
got that right in there.
13 millimeter German Mauser anti-tank rifle. Now, when we got to France, the U.S. Army, all they had was blood guts and 03 rifles. That was it. The tanks that we had were French, the two-man French Renault tank, and also the artillery, French 75, French 155 GPF. We didn't get there till 1917.
Look how their gas mask was then.
Yeah, it has asbestos in that too.
What they used
Really?
to do,
Canister, yep.
what they used to do,
Oh, that's
if
not
they
cool.
didn't have anything at all, they would pee on a handkerchief and
Put it
put
on
it
the
on
face.
because of the ammonia in the urine.
Yep.
That's right. He knows all the bad stuff. I don't know if he knows the good stuff though.
Very much good stuff.
There was no good stuff in war.
Yeah, there is.
Really?
Advances in medicine and in technology.
Yeah,
Those are the
sure.
only two things I can think of. The rest of it is
Wow.
bad for everybody, civilians and.
All right, look at that. Southeast Asia, Vietnam War.
As I
Nice.
said to myself,
Wow.
what are you trying to? This is a Tokarev pistol, Russian. This is actually it says an M14, but it's an M1A1. This is a homemade Viet Cong shotgun. You look at
Homemade?
the homemade. You see the handle, the operating
Yeah.
rod handle?
Yeah.
That's a spike that they took and they forged on a homemade. You can see the hammer marks on the ball.
Wow.
This is a Russian SKS, which is equivalent to our carbine. This is an M16A1. A1 is the forward assist and the muzzle flash suppressor.
Yeah.
M60, that steel shank boot is a result of this weapon right here, which is a punji stake.
That's actually a weapon?
That's
Looks
a
like
punji stake. You know what they did? They'd sharpen that, and when it's fresh and it's sharpened, it's just as sharp as a razor. And they put it, dig a hole,
Oh.
put it in the ground.
Oh, when you
Then they
step on
take fecal material so that you get a bad infection and put it on the top
Oh
of that.
my God.
Monkey dung, people dung, anything.
Well, they cover
They
with white stuff.
camouflage the top.
Yep.
And then when you come along as a soldier, you fall through the top, which was not meant to hold you, and your body did momentum, and you get right onto the stake. Can you see the little barb right there?
Yeah.
So you couldn't pull your foot back out of there. You had to break it off and pull it through. It caused even more damage. See, this is one way I
That
have
was
of telling
part of the
youngsters,
Vietnam.
war is not good for you.
Yeah, what's this on the top there?
It's an RPG.
Of that on the top?
RPG.
This thing?
Yeah.
This is a rocket-propelled grenade launcher, RPG. That's what's giving us all the grief over there in
Iraq.
Afghanistan and Iraq right now.
Really?
Yeah, when you they don't. That's why.
Yeah,
you
but what do you put on the top
signs.
there?
It's
That's
that
it.
little
That's
thing
a
right
missile.
there.
That's a
That
missile?
piece right there sits on top of that, and when it flies off, see those
Opens
little.
up.
It opens up like fins, and it spins a projectile. It
When,
makes
when we hit something, it explodes.
Hang on a second. I'll show you.
It has a delayed. It goes inside of it, and boom, blows everything right outwards. Like well, that's why you're not supposed to stop at stop signs in Iraq.
I'll be right there. You hang on a minute.
Yeah?
Because if you stop at stop signs in Iraq, they'll hit you with these.
Huh. Wow.
That's why they let little kids walk out there and you'll stop the little kids.
Right, that's how you make the dog tags. That's
I'll show
cool.
you how that works. To replace. And that one there, they went back to the old M9A1 style, and you can hold your breath, take off the canister, put a new canister on and clear it, and it's much, much faster. So they've gone back to something old. The first time they showed us that one, and I was in a class, I told the instructor, I said, look, the fastest guy in here takes 20 minutes to take that apart. I said, I don't know about you, but I can't hold my breath that long.
Look, there's the one from Iraq, Chief.
Yeah, yeah. We call it a mask field protective. That's the Army, the U.S. Army's version. And for example, a shovel. No, not in the military. That's too easy. It's a tool in trenching.
That's funny.
This is a prayer rug from Afghanistan that the executive officer of the 133rd brought back. And this is one of the guys that was killed at Mosul in Iraq during the dining facility explosion.
Yeah,
He
my
was-
brother was in that.
Yeah, he was
I'm
in the
trying
mess
to-
hall. Yeah,
Dining facility,
yeah,
yeah.
that's where my son was when it went off, and it caused damage to the brain.
Brain damage, yeah,
Yeah.
explosions, yeah.
Too close
the,
to explosions.
We're hoping some of those guys will come back and do one of the exhibits or tell us what should be in that. If you look out front outside, we have a Huey helicopter, which is really representative of Vietnam. But we want these guys here to tell us what was representative for
Yeah.
them. This is a telephone box that used to go right here on the other side. Used to go from one of the firing batteries to the bachelor officer quarters where the officers were. So they could be called up and brought back to the, you know, if an enemy ship was spotted or something. You can go to Popham Beach and see that one. This one is on Peaks Island. That's Great Diamond Island today, which is a retirement community.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
pretty much what we have.
Did you check this all out?
Yep.
Cool, huh? Okay, and then there were
If you have any questions, come on.
Iraq Goff. Ammo pouch from Iraq.
Well, it depends on your perspective. What are the things we want to protect?
Wow, this is really neat. What a nice museum. Look at this. Homemade, it's all wood.
I don't know about homemade.
All right, there you go. A little bit of history. Okay, look at this. This is actually a wooden canteen. Look at some of these beautiful old ones. What they did with the horn. Look at that. And this here is the Spirit of 76. If you notice, I had some in my stamps and everything. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? The U.S. Precision Musket. This is model 1842. This is the rifle. Look at that, that one even has designs on it. Isn't that neat? And they have the ships and everything. There's the War of 1812. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? This is just to give you an idea. This is at the museum, military museum.